Cable, tonight at midnight.
This is the CBS Evening News. Susan Spencer reporting. Good evening. New threats tonight against the lives of American hostages held in Lebanon. The pro-Iranian Revolutionary Justice Organization says it will kill hostages Joseph Scipio and Edward Tracy if the U.S. attacks any more Iranian targets in the Gulf. Meanwhile, the Iranians reportedly fired on a Saudi-owned tanker in the Gulf today, undeterred by U.S. resolve. Jacqueline Adams reports.
The 5,000 sailors on the aircraft carrier Forrestal said goodbye today to Jacksonville, Florida. Tomorrow they sail for the Persian Gulf, where the Reagan administration has made it clear if Iran continues attacking neutral merchant ships, the U.S. will respond. During last Monday's fighting in the Gulf, the president broadened the Navy's rules of engagement to allow U.S. warships to protect neutral shipping that came under Iranian attack. Though the policy is now under review, key senators in both parties are applauding the change.
The United States Navy should be given flexibility on a selective basis to come to the aid of an innocent ship under attack.
Why telegraph your punches? We should have the option of escorting whatever ships in the Gulf we wish to escort. It shouldn't be tied just to 11 tankers, which is what our policy has been up till now.
The Pentagon says the U.S. is considering sending Coast Guard ships to the Gulf because they're better equipped to handle mine-laying and attacks by small Iranian boats.
They have smaller boats, smaller ships that can handle some of the patrol missions.
That raises questions about whether sending the Coast Guard to the Persian Gulf would hurt the war on drugs in this hemisphere.
Well, these are ships that are not being used in that. We have no desire to hurt the capability of the drug war.
Despite some bipartisan support for a more aggressive Gulf policy, there is concern here that the Reagan administration may be getting too far ahead of American and allied public opinion. The president this week is expected to continue his consultations and possibly scale back the Navy's orders. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, the White House.
Further complicating the Middle East equation, PLO leader Yasser Arafat returned to Syria today for the first time since his expulsion 5 years ago. PLO leaders urged the reconciliation to unify action against Israel following last week's assassination of Arafat's top deputy, Abu Jihad. Secretary of State Schultz is in Brussels tonight to brief the allies on what, by all accounts, were disappointing talks with Soviet officials. But as Wyatt Andrews reports, on this trip, Schultz also reached out to the Soviet people.
It all looked like an exercise in innocence. George Schultz at a Greek Orthodox Mass in Tbilisi, the capital of Soviet Georgia. But while the old women prayed and the priest burned incense, the KGB had this Mass surrounded. They encircled the altar on the inside, formed a cordon around the cathedral outside, while the militia held back scores of churchgoers 200 yards up the street. Schultz said nothing, but he didn't need to. In the land of suppressed religion, the believers got his message.
America is a country of believers, and Georgia also has a tradition of belief. Schultz came because of the hand of God.
Schultz said he came to see the diversity of the Soviet Union. What he got after 2 days in Georgia was the kind of warmth he has never received in that Soviet republic called Russia.
Thank you for your hospitality.
And Georgia is unique. The people have only the loosest kind of loyalty to the Soviet Empire. This very ethnic Georgian folk dance was also Georgia's political message for Schultz. They may be absorbed into the Russian regime, but they've got no use or need for Russian culture. This more personal style of diplomacy is a clear departure for the usually somber George Schultz, a Secretary of State not normally known for working the crowds or seeing the sights. And while this may look like simple tourism, it is the kind of diplomatic display of goodwill that years of negotiations in Moscow could never achieve. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Tbilisi in Soviet Georgia.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Bruce Morton on Dukakis and Jackson, all keyed up for the Keystone primary. And later on Inside Sunday, the battle against smoking, while tobacco farmers fight for survival.
X-Lax presents some gentle guarantees. The warmth of the new sun waking the sleep from your body. The cool freshness of the morning air. And now the peace of mind that comes from the X-Lax guarantee. Taken at bedtime, X-Lax is guaranteed to work gently, effectively, by 8 a.m. or your money back. So in this uncertain world, isn't it nice to know you can relax with a family friend? X-Lax, guaranteed to work by 8 a.m.
This is the all-new Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and this is the new Cutlass Supreme game going on right now. Game brochures are at your Oldsmobile dealer or participating McDonald's. Understand so far? Good. Play the Cutlass Supreme game. You could win an all-new Cutlass Supreme SL or $1,000 in cash. And you'll get a coupon for cash back on a new Cutlass Supreme. Game pieces are at your Olds dealer. You should go there. Any question? Good.
Major appliances that aren't brand new can scare potential buyers away. If your real estate company can't protect them, you're not listed with the right real estate company because you're not listed with an ERA broker.
I've got big news for prune lovers who also love cereal. Actually, it's kind of small news when you look at it. It's Sunsweet bite-sized pitted prunes. Try them on your cereal and you'll agree Sunsweet bite-size is just the right size.
The polls put Michael Dukakis way ahead of Jesse Jackson before Tuesday's Pennsylvania primary, but both are working hard for the blue-collar vote. As Bruce Morton reports, for Dukakis today, that meant a ride on the railroad.
The press release called it the Pennsylvania Presidential Unlimited. It was candidate Michael Dukakis and a horde of reporters and cameras on a three-stop train ride through economically troubled western Pennsylvania, with Dukakis at every stop talking about how hard times here were like the hard times he'd overcome in Massachusetts.
As a New Englander, I know what Johnstown has been going through, because we went through exactly the same kind of pain in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the early 70s.
But as the train and the Pennsylvania campaign roll along, a funny thing has happened. In two debates here, it is orator Jesse Jackson offering specific proposals, and Dukakis, the problem solver, sounding vague. On today's rash of mergers, for instance.
We're not going to develop the kind of technology and the kind of modernized industry, either in steel or other places in this country, if we continue to tolerate the merger and acquisition binge that is sweeping this country.
But Jackson specifically proposes
a merger review board will not approve mergers until the economic impact of that merger has been determined.
On money for education.
I propose that we spend $3 billion a year on Head Start. Are you willing to deal with a budget for that?
I'm doing it already.
Jackson has been wondering aloud why reporters don't press Dukakis for specifics. Today they did, and a testy candidate counterattacked sharply.
Any candidate who proposes a budget now for next year's doesn't know what budgeting is all about. Couldn't possibly imagine or understand what it takes to put a budget together.
Jackson, of course, has proposed a budget. Dukakis is running here very much on a theme called I'm the front runner, I'm ahead, don't rock the boat, or the train. Today, on a cold Sunday, the crowds were generally good. The candidate and his train were rolling along. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Today's first round of presidential elections in France put the incumbent well in front there. But Doug Tennell reports the balance of power may rest with the controversial candidate of the extreme right.
A French socialist who was the most unpopular president in the history of France just 3 years ago walked away with it today. President Francois Mitterrand appears to be well on his way to being re-elected in the final round of France's presidential election 2 weeks from now. At 71, Mitterrand is now one step closer to a legacy of leadership that could someday rival de Gaulle's. As expected, the man closest to stealing Mitterrand's job is his conservative Prime Minister, Jacques Chirac. But Chirac took only about 20% of today's vote, a poor showing compared to Mitterrand's 34%. But the real winner on today's ballot is an extreme right-winger named Jean-Marie Le Pen, who with an estimated 15% of the vote established himself as the power broker in the upcoming final round of this presidential election.
Le Pen used to have a paratrooper beret, and he used to have a black eye patch, and he was screaming for years. Now he wants to look as a statesman, but he still remains a racist.
A man whose whole campaign has been built on calls for a crackdown on immigrants from the Third World is now in a position to make demands of more establishment politicians in return for an endorsement.
Whoever decides to use that support, you know, it's like a pact with the devil.
This French election is very much a spectator sport. Like some American elections, it is very light on issues and heavy on personalities. And in the end, no matter who wins, very little is going to change here. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Paris.
Why do they call it heartburn? When it's me, your stomach, that's hurting. When antacids don't stop the pain from coming back, it could be an ulcer. It's okay, because there are treatment programs to help heal ulcers. If you think you have an ulcer, go see your doctor and ask about the available treatment programs. Sponsored by SmithKline & French, the ulcer experts. You could make your stomach very happy.
If you heard the report on 59 cold cereals by a leading consumer magazine, you'd fall through the floor.
Mine's high in calcium.
And salt.
Salt?
High in fiber.
And sugar.
Sugar?
Lots of protein.
And added fat.
Fat?
The magazine rated shredded wheat tops in nutrition for no added sugar or salt, low fat, plenty of fiber and protein. Shredded wheat. And nobody else.
Carol Burnett's sister.
I'm Christine Burnett. Am I funny? No. Does my investment firm, Dean Witter, still treat me like a star? Uh-huh.
You're somebody, a Dean Witter.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Why I like stovetop in the canister. When the crew from work's in a partying mood, stovetop in the canister's our favorite food. For 2, 6, or 8, it tastes so nice. We redo the scene so we can eat it twice.
Stovetop stuffing in the canister.
Well, they said it couldn't be done, but Congress did it. Smoking is now officially banned on most domestic airline flights. Tonight on Inside Sunday, changing attitudes towards smoking and the impact that's having on a major U.S. industry. A quarter century ago, 4 out of 10 American adults smoked. Now it's less than 3 in 10, and more are quitting every single day.
We'd like you all to appreciate just what it is that they have achieved.
It's a big night for Helen DeVoto. She and her classmates are about to become former smokers. In Helen's case, after 45 years and 2.5 packs a day.
I said, this is enough. I have to do it for myself.
DeVoto wants to count herself among the roughly 40 million Americans who have kicked the habit. The number is growing. Tobacco use is falling by as much as 2% a year.
I don't think there are too many people out there who are smoking who don't realize that one of these days they have to stop, if not by death, then by choice.
The health pressure to quit began with the first Surgeon General's report in 1964, then got an enormous boost 2 years ago when the Surgeon General declared smoking could hurt non-smokers too.
Involuntary smoking is a cause of disease, including lung cancer.
Smokers recognize that what they are doing is harming other people and polluting the air.
And just bring it towards your foot.
If health isn't enough in this increasingly fitness-conscious society, there is today another reason to quit, a reason in some ways even more powerful. For many people, smoking just isn't cool anymore.
It's not attractive. It's dirty. It's smelly. It's not a turn-on to people.
It certainly used to be.
I remember Betty Davis smoking, Humphrey Bogart. I mean, let's face it, Humphrey Bogart died because he was smoking all the time. I mean, these people were like constantly on fire.
Edward R. Murrow, who died of lung cancer, even smoked during a show about the dangers of cigarettes.
This report on smoking habits and health will continue.
With peer pressure, and we all thought we were in high school, and if you didn't smoke, you weren't in.
Today, you may not be in if you do. The dancing cigarettes are gone from television. Smoking has almost vanished from the tube. And also from many offices, hospitals, public buildings, as of yesterday from most airline flights. Some smokers say it's unfair.
Smokers are subhuman, stupid people, and they need to be beat up on. We need to force them to stop. Well, that's just not America.
Both pro and anti-smoking groups vow to continue the struggle. Helen DeVoto knows her fight has just started.
Be it known that Helen DeVoto.
I want to stop, and I want to at least show my grandchildren I'm going to do it. And I want to do it for myself mainly. And I'm going to do it.
It could be the undoing of the tobacco industry, all this quitting. So the cigarette makers have protected themselves somewhat by diversifying. The Liggett Group, which makes L&M, also makes Pepsi now. Philip Morris owns General Food. R.J. Reynolds, is now RJR Nabisco. But what about the tobacco farmers? As Bruce Hall reports, while the demand is shrinking, they are still growing.
For nearly 200 years, this has been the crop that builds the roads and schools and pays the bills for the farmers along Tobacco Road. But no more. The bottom has fallen out of the tobacco market.
Farmers have just gotten frustrated with it. They have to make enough money out of this to live and to pay their bills.
In Maryland, tobacco farmers like Billy Addison knew bids were going to be low this year because demand was down, and so was the quality. But he never expected prices to drop almost in half over the past 5 years to a new low of about $1 a pound.
So got $1.10, 05, $1.10. It's hard to change a tire on a tractor for that, isn't it? Huh?
Nearly 40% of the growers refuse to accept the bids at the auctions. Addison thinks the end is near for Maryland tobacco growers as real estate land values increase in this area near Washington.
These warehouses are liable not to be here 5 years from now. This will all be high-rise buildings, and there'll be a McDonald's up on the corner, and big improvement.
Faster, Thurman!
Down the road in North Carolina, they are still planting tobacco. Despite the drop in prices, tobacco remains the most profitable crop in the state. However, agricultural officials are urging growers to diversify. That is not easy for John Bomer, whose family has been growing tobacco for generations. His attempts at okra, broccoli, and pumpkins have produced mixed results.
Deep down, I really don't think those other crops are out there that are going to replace tobacco. So if tobacco goes down the tubes, I guess I'm going to. It just seems that way.
The Bolmers, like many growers in North Carolina, have not given up hope.
We are looking to our export market as a means of how we're going to keep our farm going and sell our product.
As the economies in different countries, perhaps third world countries, improve, there is the taste for the American blended cigarette.
The growers and manufacturers are optimistic about opening up new foreign markets.
Exports of cigarettes in particular are going up at a fantastic rate. Manufactured cigarette exports were up 57% in 1987 compared to 1986.
The question is whether the foreign markets will provide short-term relief or long-term survival for the North Carolina tobacco growers. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Atlanta.
A matter of survival over here, a matter of life and death overseas. American tobacco products are reaching foreigners, but the health warnings that go with them are lagging far behind. Tom Fenton reports.
While the population of the world is growing only 1% a year, the smoking population is growing at a rate of 2%. Most of the new smokers are in the developing world, where tobacco consumption is going up 4 times faster than in the rich industrialized West. In China, 2 out of 3 men smoke. That provides an enormous potential market for the big American and British tobacco companies at a time when consumption back home is decreasing.
So the overwhelming impression you have is we are now going to witness in China exactly the same 50 years development that we've witnessed in Britain and America, ending up with the world's biggest tobacco epidemic by far. I mean, unimaginable.
In Japan, there are few restrictions on public smoking, though a Tokyo rail station does provide a special room for smokers, and some taxis now turn down smoking customers. American brands are fighting to increase their small share of this lucrative market of 32 million smokers, unfettered by the same kind of restrictions they are under at home.
For example, here are 2 packs of Camel cigarettes. In the U.S., this pack says to a pregnant female, if you smoke, it's going to hurt your baby. This pack, though, in a developing country says quality choice.
Europe is a different story. The Norwegian parliament has just passed legislation that will virtually eliminate smoking in all public areas used by more than 1 person. In Britain, Smoking is decreasing more than anywhere else in Europe, even though it's still popular with the working class, and lung cancer will soon overtake breast cancer here as the leading cause of women's deaths. Even in France, where men have the highest smoking rate in the Western world, and where the cigarette is as traditional as a glass of wine, there are signs of change. A poll published today shows 83% of the French favor a ban on smoking in public places. With consumption going down in the Western world, it's no wonder that the American and British tobacco companies are moving into the third world. Billions of dollars worth of sales are at stake. The health hazards to millions of new customers do not figure in these companies' balance sheets. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
According to the World Health Organization, someone dies of a tobacco-related illness every 13 seconds. Still, every single day, 5,000 young people take up smoking, many hooked for life. The Surgeon General is expected to issue his first warning about nicotine addiction next month. The hope is that it will prevent at least some people from becoming just one more statistic. That's our CBS Evening News tonight. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow. I'm Susan Spencer, and I'll see you later on the CBS Sunday Night News. Until then, have a good evening.
So how long has he had it? Less than a week. He's already used it twice. Twice? He's in the garage right now looking at it. Really? He's wanted one all his life.
You know they last for ages.
Well, you look at this lawn. It's getting out of hand.
Now I ask you, how much can grass grow in 2 days?
Nothing. Runs like a deer.
Hello? Need a shipping date? Yeah, oh, hold on a second. Hello? You want research? Yo, price change?
The IBM Personal System 2
Research here. All trends are up.
runs today's most popular business program
Shipping. Be out in 10 days.
with superior graphics and speed.
The price on that? The price is $89.99.
No wonder it's today's fastest-selling computer. The Personal System 2 family, part of the bigger picture from IBM.
When I need a laxative, I use Docalax.
Doris Jones talks about Docalax.
I like Docalax because it's very mild and gentle and dependable.
Docalax, tablets and suppositories.
Docalax works every single time.
Folks, if you wear dentures and smoke like my pal Bob, you've got to try my Smoker's Polydent. Its super strength cleans tough tobacco stains, while its minty mouthwash ingredient freshens up dentures. Try Smoker's Polydent, the soap for people who smoke.
I'm Kathleen Sullivan.
And I'm Harry Smith, tomorrow making marriage work after the honeymoon.
Also Yves Montand and Rosetta Arquette on CBS this morning.
This is CBS.
Coming up on Eyewitness News, another Nashville arts organization calls it quits. We'll tell you about the impact that loss has had on the arts community. And round-the-clock childcare is only as far away as Lewisburg, Tennessee. We'll have a report. Those stories and a taste of the spice of life near Riverfront Park. Eyewitness News is coming up next.
Hayes Hyundai and Hayes Mitsubishi are having a gigantic sale on all vehicles. Save hundreds of dollars. Remember, the Hayes Hyundai XL has a lower price and more features than any car in its class.
But does it have front-wheel drive?
Yes, Fred, plus 63 more features.
Hayes Mitsubishi sale includes our Mighty Max truck with a lower price and more standard features than any truck in this class. Hurry, they're going fast.
Sometimes I wish you'd disappear, Fred. Cars that are hard to say,
easy to buy.
And that's a fact.
You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're everything I hope for, everything I need. You are so.
This is your moment to be beautiful. Beautiful. The fragrance from Estee Lauder. Now at Dillard's.
Something has happened to your town.